lawless is. Now, let's talk about the news. Now, Michael, Charles, you brought this up. Shawn Thierry, who I believe you know in theory, has decided to move to the Republican Party. Is that right?
That's right. I don't know her very well. We've interacted before.
No, I'm correct that you know her in theory.
Yes, I know her in theory. She has decided today to announce that she has left the Democratic Party and is now a Republican. She said it's been a long time coming. You know, watching the transition of the party has left her, as with many Democrats, without a home. And she thinks that she feels that she's more aligned with the Republican Party. And so
Democrats not having a home, is that why they support the homeless industrial complex so much?
Must be. That's it.
Those Democrats, they're really supporting themselves.
For those who don't know, Shawn Thierry, State Representative Shawn Thierry, is the one who was the Democrat who's very outspoken against or in favor of the ban on gender modification of youth. And this was during the last legislative session. She got a lot of pushback from her party over it, a lot. And so I think that was kind of one of the final straws.
No,
yeah.
Not only did she get a lot of pushback, but she got a primary challenger and lost her primary to someone running to the left of her.
Yeah. So she's, it says one of X. I don't know that the thread actually goes on. It's just one long thing. So whatever. That's a stylistic choice that she made, but that's fine. So the Democratic Party has veered so far left, so deep into the progressive abyss that it now champions policies that I cannot in good conscience support. Policies like promoting sex changes for children during a vulnerable stage of their lives and dismantling Title IX protections for women in sports. I almost read that as Title 11. This is not the party I grew up with. I witnessed firsthand how the so-called liberal left now stifles thoughtful debate, silencing dissent with an iron fist, demanding blind allegiance to ideology where one must comply or be cast out. RFK. This is not the Democratic Party I once supported and represented. And it goes on talking about Maya Angelou, but who knows who she is, right? So we're going to discuss this a little bit further because I'm curious, right? I think it's, good for her, right? She's getting a lot of play for this on social media because it's kind of a big deal. I think when a prominent Democrat switches sides, I think it was a big deal when the Dallas mayor did it. But is it, it's probably a big deal when a Republican goes Democrat, right? When was the last time that happened? Do y'all know? I don't know, but
when a Republican actually went Democrat, or when a Republican adopted all Democrat positions, such as
there's no difference between Republicans and Democrats, Michael. I know where you're going with that one. I'm talking about switched parties.
Oh, when a Republican switched parties. Yeah, I don't know. I think you can effectively say the Adam Kinzingers and the Liz Cheney's have done so, but they haven't formally switched parties. So. Yeah, I don't know when the last time a prominent Republican has gone to the Democrats.
Adam Kinzinger is a patriot. Please be respectful. So, she's right. They are demanding blind allegiance to ideology, and one must comply or be cast out. I don't know if this is her letter saying I've been cast out, or if this is her letter saying I'm leaving before you cast me out. I'm breaking up with you, switching the tables. Right? I don't know which one it is. But it does speak to what's happening with RFK, right?
I don't know.
Come on, Charles.
And Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard's been where she's been for like 4 years, though, and I don't think she endorsed Biden. I don't remember. Did she endorse Biden after? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
She endorsed Biden over Bernie
in the primary 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Interesting.
Is it? Go on.
Well, I'm not surprised she endorsed him over Bernie, but it is interesting that she endorsed him because I thought that's where she was 4 years ago because she hadn't really been involved in the Democratic Party since then. So I thought she had already kind of left it.
Well, did she leave it or the Democrat Party leave her? Isn't that the age-old question we all experience now? And what are Republicans nowadays anyway? Are they 1990s Bill Clinton Democrats or are they Republicans?
I think there are a couple dynamics going on here. I think there's a natural shift in what the parties believe, for sure. We're watching it happen. Like the Republicans are now the anti-war party. They're the free speech party. like they're the party of work, the working class, or trying to be. And there's a shift, which is leaving some people like, well, where do I go? But there's also these sorts of things where the progressives are just going so far left that people like Shawn Thierry, I think Robert F. Kennedy a little bit, but I would use an example of maybe like our friend Adam Lowy, who are like, that's way too far left. He doesn't really change his fundamental beliefs. They've just moved so far left that he doesn't believe what that party believes anymore. So
but does he vote for that party?
I think probably some of the times, probably not other times. People with like Tulsi Gabbard, Robert F. Kennedy, and then on the other side of that, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, there are just fundamental beliefs within the party that on the Kinzinger side, they're just not getting on board with, which is the party's changed. This is what it believes now. You got to get on board or you're not part of the party, right?
Well, I mean, is Adam Kinzinger's beliefs all that different from like a mainstream Republican, aside from like, let's support Ukraine no matter what?
That's not a mainstream Republican position.
I said aside from that, like that's where he differs the most. Like what else does he believe that the mainstream Republican doesn't believe? Like he's a fucking neocon. He's a neocon in the making. He wants to be the next Mitch McConnell. I get it.
That's right? The point. Neocons are Democrats now.
Okay, but like when he's up there, like is there anything else that he said? Like like Trump has come out just recently, and we'll play this clip in a little bit, saying that the federal government is either going to pay for it or they're going to mandate the insurance companies pay for IVF.
Yep.
Right? Did Adam Kinzinger have a problem with that? Did Adam Kinzinger have a problem with closing the border? I don't know.
I mean, I don't think he would align with the kind of common thread of Republican solution to closing the border. I think he's kind of more aligned with Democrats today on it. I mean, what do you think Adam Kinzinger's big issue is with the Republican Party that he's out there endorsing Joe Biden if you don't think it's everything? Like, what do you think it's the issue?
Well, I mean, I think it's Ukraine.
You think it's the one issue?
I mean, it seems like the only issue that he ever talks about.
But he's been vocal against Republicans before the Ukraine thing broke out.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably because he knew the Ukraine thing was about to break out. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not married to any of this. I'm just asking you guys' opinion. Because he does. Is he like? Where do people differ? Where are these people differing? Why are these Republicans not getting on board with Trump? And it just seems that it's not. If Trump was all about Ukraine and like wanted to destroy Ukraine by, I don't know, funding its war against Russia, I feel like these people would be fine with supporting Trump and all of his other policies. Right?
No, I don't think Adam Kinzinger has ever supported Trump. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, because Trump has never been pro-war.
Speaking out against the CIA, speaking out against the FBI,
all of those. I think all of those go under the umbrella of
challenging the election, talking about whether John F. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. All these things that are now mainstream in the Republican Party that are anti-establishment, that are pointing out the failures of the establishment Republicans like George Bush and the neocons. The Adam Kinzingers of the world hate that stuff has sunlight. And it's more of a fundamental worldview. I would say their positions on trade are probably different. I doubt he supports tariffs on products from China. And we can have an intellectual debate about whether that's a good idea or not. But I say idea. But first time in my life, but he probably doesn't agree with those sort of policies, those trade policies. He probably would have supported NAFTA. He probably would have supported the TPP. And he's an old school neocon globalist Republican. And the party has moved on from that to big tent. Welcome to Tulsi Gabbard and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We're anti-war. We want the UFO people. We want the Bitcoin people. I mean, my friend and, more traditional Republican Ellen Troxclair is posting on her Instagram welcoming Robert F. Kennedy, a liberal and environmentalist, to the party, to the movement. So yeah. Kinzinger needs to get on board.
Well, he's not going to. He's not going to on board.
Then he's a Democrat.
Sure, I don't know. Whatever. I'm not saying that I believe one way or the other. I'm just trying to take y'all's pulse a little bit, right? Trying to figure it out as we go along. But since we talked last time with Alex Stringer when he was at the DNC, and RFK Jr. was, I think by the time we talked to him, RFK had announced his support for Trump. Well, now Tulsi Gabbard has come out and done it as well. And that's kind of a big deal, right? They both have a ton of independent support, right?
Sorry. Now that Dane said that,
Welcome to the show.
No, I've been participating, but now that Dane said that, I just thought of something. To the question about the last switch, it wasn't a full switch, but it was when Manchin left the Democratic Party like 2 years ago to go to be an independent. He didn't go Republican, but he left the Democratic Party.
Are you answering my question? When was the last time a Republican switched to Democrat?
No.
Oh, that was your question, right? I forgot. I thought it was
that's where the confusion comes from.
I'm gonna but it keeps talking, Brad.
Well, I was going to say that the Tulsi Gabbard coming out and endorsing Donald Trump, coconut milk mommy, she is. I think that's kind of a big deal. She has a. Why are you shaking your head, Charles? You know it is. You know it's true. You know that's what she is. That's what we all call her. What?
I don't think it's that big of a deal, honestly.
You don't think it's a big deal that Tulsi Gabbard came out and endorsed Donald Trump?
No, because listen, do I think it's a big deal for independents who's looking to Tulsi? Like, I don't. I think it's a big deal.
Joe Rogan.
What?
Joe Rogan, Michael Searle and Joe Rogan are about on par, but those two goons.
Listen, I think it's a big deal anytime that someone who, especially in such a high-profile election, who is not of the same party, does buck their party in general. But I think specifically Tulsi Gabbard, I look at it as Adam Kinzinger endorsing Biden or Kamala. I don't think that's a big deal either. Like, it's kind of expected at that point because these people are not in line with their party anymore and have been very vocal about not being in line with their party.
But does Adam Kinzinger or Liz Cheney, do they have a whole lot of like Republican and independent support that they could bring over to, say, a Kamala Ball's ticket?
Yeah, there are plenty of Republicans who think like them.
I don't
Democrats who think like Tulsi and Joe Manchin and
I think there's more independents that are. I think this is bigger for independents. I don't think there's going to be a ton of Democrats that switch over. Michael, anytime you want to chime in, please pick a side. Finish this debate.
I will. I think Charles is somewhat right.
You could have also said that Brad is somewhat right, but whatever.
You're both right. It'll have marginal impact, and it's happening on the other side. There are neocon loyalists who love Liz Cheney, but they already voted for Biden in 2020. They're not like, I'm going to vote RFK, or I'm going to vote Cornel West, or I'm going to vote Jill Stein, but now I'm voting Kamala because Kinzinger endorsed Kamala. There are people that are independent who were voting Jill Stein, Cornel West, RFK, who are now, with Tulsi Gabbard's influence and RFK's influence, going to vote Trump. So
I know these people personally.
While it's a small percentage, it's going to have impact in those swing states, and he needs to pick up a few votes here and there. So I think it'll have impact. Is it game-changing? Is it Barack Obama coming out and saying, actually, let's vote Trump? No, but it's going to make marginal impact.
RFK doesn't have the same sway that Obama does.
Correct.
But RFK has a significant campaign, independent campaign, and him switching over is actually going to make a huge impact.
Yep. Not huge. Just it's going to make an impact.
What?
Well, if you look at the breakdown, about 60-40 or 65-35 of RFK voters are going to go Trump and 35 are going to go Kamala. So, yeah, it's an impact, and it's on the margins, and this election is going to be determined on the margins. So that's a big deal for Trump's campaign.
So my question to you guys, especially Michael, but I want to hear your opinion too, Charles, but I think Michael might be on board with the idea from the get-go. I don't think that Trump's going to win this. I don't think they're going to let it happen. I don't think that this is if you believe, right, that there's like shadowy, conspiracy organizations that are pulling strings in the background, and there's a lot of fucking power at play here, a lot of money. Is it World War III or is it not World War III, right? These people want it, if that's what you believe is we're going towards, that's what these people want. That's what they're orchestrating towards, correct? When RFK and Tulsi Gabbard and Trump is sitting down with Theo Vaughn talking about, cocaine and drugs and all sorts of stuff. It seems like Trump is playing a smarter campaign than he typically has. He's not quite as out there and loud. People are upset about his stance on abortion, which is fine, whatever. But I just don't think they're going to let him win. I think they're going to lock him up, or there's going to be, as Charles likes to say, some incompetence that's going to happen.
So first, I'm going to respond to your earlier question. Of the 10 or 20 that I just clicked on of people who switched parties, every single one of them was Democrat to Republican. I haven't found one that switched the other way.
Interesting.
I think it's probably because Republicans are more forgiving than Democrats are when it comes to that kind of thing. I mean, just look today, right? We've with Shawn Thierry, with Eric Johnson, when they both switched, Republicans embraced them with open arms. But yet, when you see the same from Democrats, unless it's specifically geared toward as an election, like with the people coming out at the DNC saying they're voting for Biden, but just a general switch, I don't think they're typically believed, and I don't think those people win Democratic primaries.